Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Note to Self. In today's episode, I wanted to share the story time with you of how I became connected to Kambo in my life. For those of you who may not be familiar, my name is Zoe, and I am an advanced Kambo practitioner through the IAKP. That is the International Association of Kambo Practitioners. And Kambo itself comes from the Kambo frog, or the Philomedusa bicolor, the giant monkey tree frog that lives in the Amazon jungle. And people, tribes specifically, have been using this for thousands of years to cleanse and clear panema, which is bad energy from their lives, to heal their nervous systems, to support in healing physical ailments or pain within the body. There are so many incredible benefits to Kambo because of the way it works so closely with our bodies. There is so much magic around this sacred frog, and my intention today is to share a bit of that magic with you, because in sharing with you my personal story, it will definitely relay the layers and the dimensions in which this magical frog works. So I just want to start this episode off by saying that I am not a doctor, and what I'm about to share with you is my personal experience, my personal story. It's not meant to diagnose anything for anyone. I'm simply sharing my own personal experience. So let's dive right into the story time, because this one's a powerful one, and I feel like it really highlights how when we are meant to take a next step in our life, specifically maybe around different plant medicines or deciding to try something different, right? Try out a healing modality of some kind, there is a type of call. There is a curiosity, an inkling that comes in the heart, and there are signs and synchronicities that follow that help us just know, trust, and lean into trying something different that we feel like could really support us. And that's what happened for me. When I first moved to Bali in 2021, I didn't know that there's a ton of dogs all over Bali. I didn't know that these were not domesticated dogs and that you weren't really supposed to pet them and make friends with them. And so shortly after arriving on the island, I received a ringworm infection on my shin. And this is a fungal infection of the skin. It was carried by some of the dogs in Bali. It's something that humans can get. It can be quite common in different areas. It's not a worm in your skin. It's a fungal infection. So it just looks like a sore. It looks maybe a bit itchy, just very uncomfortable, just to paint that visual for you. And so I had this ringworm infection on my shin, and I went to go see some different medical practitioners on the island, and everyone said, okay, ringworm, try this ointment, try this, and nothing was working for me. And the ringworm infection actually spread to my other leg, and it started to work its way up to my knees. And in that experience, I had never had something manifest on my skin, so this felt very confronting to me. This created a lot of fear. It created a lot of panic in me because I had just moved to this foreign country and I had no idea what was happening to my body, what was happening to my skin. And while I was in this experience, tons of people recommended Kambo to me. And at that time, I was vegan. I had heard of Kambo, and I heard that it came from a frog, but I was not really willing to push past that boundary, that line of resistance I had on the inside that was, if it comes from a frog, I don't think it's for me. I also knew that in partaking in a Kambo treatment, you drink a lot of water and you purge. Like you sort of vomit out toxins from your body. And that really freaked me out because for my entire life up to that point, I always really feared vomiting. And so even through my experience with ayahuasca, plant medicines before that, I would really resist the purge. right? A big part of plant medicine ceremonies, ayahuasca specifically, is that you release stored stagnant emotions or trauma from the body through a visceral physical release like that. And that's what Kambo does too. And so I had a lot of resistance knowing that, okay, if I decide to partake in this ceremony, I will be vomiting into a bucket. So there was a lot of resistance there. But what was interesting was that, I heard time and time again, people recommend it to me. And then all of a sudden, all the frogs started showing up. I had frogs in my bedroom. I had frogs on my bathroom mirror. I had frogs hopping in front of my scooter at night. It was relentless. And it became one of those moments that felt like a bit of a cosmic joke, a bit of like okay, fine, I surrender. I'll go to a Kambo ceremony. And everyone who I had spoke to and who recommended Kambo recommended that I go see Esther, the Kambo practitioner on the island of Bali. That's where she lived at the time. And they said that she's incredible. So I signed up for her next group circle ceremony and I arrived. And what was interesting was that in that moment sitting down before ceremony, I got a big intuitive hit that said, buckle up, this is your medicine. And it was so clear to me, the message, like it just shot right through the top of my head, like through my entire body, giving me chills. And I was like, what? Like, how is that? I know I'm about to purge. Like, how is that my medicine? Buckle up, maybe, but I don't know what this is, what is meant here for me. And shortly after that, Esther applied the Kambo to my body and I entered into the fire. The Kambo is a fire medicine, and the experience of it feels a lot like everything and anything that is no longer serving you is just being burned in the inside of your body, right? Not painful. It's uncomfortable, not painful, say, like it's very symbolic. It's like, ooh, okay, everything that's not meant to be here is about to be released in a big way. So anyways, I had my treatment. I drank the water. I released it into the bucket. I had a very powerful spiritual experience. I actually have this story time more in depth of that experience on my YouTube channel. So I'll find that video and I'll link it down below if you're curious, because I shared that video shortly after my experience with Kambo. And what was interesting was that immediately after the ceremony ended, I knew I have to go back again. That was so powerful. And I'm immediately called back, right? Following that call, following that curiosity. And so I signed up for the next group circle and the next one. And after 3 consecutive Kambo treatments, I didn't just clear the ringworm infection from my skin. And I will say, multiple practitioners told me that there would be lifelong scars on my legs from this infection. Kambo completely cleared that up for me. And I got so much more than just the physical detox and the healing of my skin and that infection. There were incredible emotional breakthroughs and shifts that I experienced. So just want to tie in metaphysical anatomy here for a moment. And metaphysical anatomy in the simplest form is the idea, the theory that anything that the body is manifesting, there is an emotional root to that. And if you decide to explore the emotional root, you can create a lot of shifts for yourself. You can heal your life in ways by understanding what your body is attempting to communicate to you through symptoms. And the metaphysical anatomy of something manifesting on the skin, like a ringworm infection or acne, for example, is self-resistance, self-rejection, self-hatred. It's all in alignment with that. And for me, I had never had something manifest on my skin this intensely as a ringworm infection. Like, I had gone through bouts of experiencing acne in my life. Never intensely, I'll say, and nothing ever to the extent of what I experienced on my legs. But what it felt like to me was that it evoked this feeling of being out of control. Like something in my body is out of control. I need to fix it. I was so disgusted by it. I was rejecting myself consistently. I would look down at my legs. I would be like so embarrassed. I would feel so much shame. It was really just highlighting so much of the emotions under the surface that were calling to be looked at. And after I participated in that initial Kambo ceremony, I went home and I had a bath. And I put essential oils in that bath. I was very intentional about it. And I just like sat there staring at my legs. And I was like, you know what? It's time to make amends. And I remember crying. I remember just having this very powerful emotional release. Like it's like finally after the Kambo, I just like let down my guard a bit. I let down a layer of resistance to my body and I just accepted what was in front of me. And I realized that if I was going to make the healing of my legs a priority, I would have to become friends with myself in a deeper way. And so that's what I did. And so I started to take baths every single day. I started to just take this moment in time to honor my body, to not fight it, and to just allow whatever emotions needed to come to the surface to be cleansed. And so, as I shared, I did these 3 very close together ceremonies. And this is typically how I've structured retreats in the past. I've done retreats in Sedona, in Los Angeles, and I offer 3 Kambo treatments in a row because there is so much depth that you're able to access when you are in a container like that for yourself, with yourself. And I share this today because I've actually decided to open up a Kambo Radiance Reset, which is 3 days at the end of March 2026 this year. So at the end of March, from March 27th to March 29th, I will be serving a small, intimate group of people, right? It's kept small for a reason. It's so that we can do this deep work together in a safe and sacred container, with the intention of deep healing on whatever it is that you might be desiring to work through, whether that's something physical, something emotional, something spiritual, whatever is there for you at the forefront. This is a dedicated container of 3 days to really do that deep work together. Because in my experience, as I shared, these 3 ceremonies were kind of the secret. They were a secret and unlocking something very deep, very profound, and very healing in my life. Because for me, those emotions, that rejection, everything that I started to feel into and heal, like so much of it was connected to my mother. And Kambo really guided me in that. Kambo really showed me that. And this sacred Amazonian ceremony, these sacred peptides from this frog, they activate the body, the spirit, the soul in ways that it's challenging to vocalize. I even find myself like sitting here, I'm just speaking into this microphone, telling you guys, and I've sat with this medicine many, many, many times, both served myself, been served by people, served many other people, hundreds of ceremonies. And I'm still amazed, in awe, and find it challenging to speak to how multidimensional this frog works, how powerful the spirit is, and how many blessings come from this experience. In more of a tangible, sort of physical sense, people leave the ceremony feeling lighter. They feel more clear. They feel more mentally alert. They feel like they've just leapt a timeline. They feel like they've just accelerated. They feel like they've just let go of a lot of energetic weight. And in the coming days, they sleep better. They feel more sustainable energy throughout the entire day. They're more flexible in their bodies. They feel like they're more aligned with making healthy choices and integrating healthy habits. It's this magical ease that enters your life when you decide to dig deep and get to those things under the surface. So yeah, circling back again, there's something very powerful about having a big intention for whatever it is that you might be experiencing in your life, that you're ready to create change, whether that's something that's manifesting like tension in the body, or if it's some type of pattern that you experience mentally that you're ready to let go of, Kambo is a very powerful ally for that. I'm going to leave my website, Kambo Radiance, down below, as I shared, that has a lot of testimonials from people. And I think those are especially very powerful to read because you see how this magical frog works differently on everyone. Kambo will always meet you where you're at. It works for everyone, and it works in different ways. There really is no other way to explain it than, for me personally, it feels like magic because it just knows what to do. But beyond that, it's the body knows what to do when it's provided the safety and the support to do so. Because there's nothing on the Kambo stick. The secretion itself is served on a stick that I activate through water. And there's nothing on that stick that the body can be allergic to. It binds, these bioactive peptides bind with the body in a way that support the body's natural ability to heal itself, and the body starting to facilitate these actions internally that create a detoxing effect. And that in itself is brilliant, because no wonder you leave feeling lighter, more clear, because you've detoxified your body. But there are ways in which, when you release toxins, when you release stored stagnant emotions, when you recalibrate your nervous system, overall you just feel more peaceful. You feel happier, you feel more joyful. I had a woman today come sit with me for a private treatment, and as she was getting up to leave, she's like, I feel happy in my life. She's like, that's what this has done for me, is that I'm starting to feel happy. And oh my goodness, like my heart was just smiling in that moment. This was her second treatment. And I was like, I know what that feels like when you've been disconnected from your body in ways, or disconnected from your soul or your spirit. And this really gives you an opportunity to reconnect. So if you're feeling called to Kambo, if you're feeling curious, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Or if you're feeling called to do the deep work in March, from March 27th to 29th, like I said, there's limited spaces. Reach out to me now if you're feeling curious about it. I'll answer any questions, and we can sign you right up if you're just ready to go for it. KamboRadiance@gmail.com is my email for that. But as always, you can reach out to me on Instagram at Kambo Radiance or at Zoe Ariel. And yeah, I hope that this episode supported you in some ways. I hope that if you had any questions, it answered them. And I'm definitely going to be sharing more about Kambo in the future, and future episodes to come here, because it's a big part of my life. And I'm situated here in Toronto, serving group circles every month. So I would love to meet you and serve you if it's in alignment with you and your path. So sending you all so much love, and I hope that you enjoyed this story time. I'll be speaking to you again very soon.